I'm Bree.
And I'm Jamie. Tell us about that one time.
Hey there. Hi there. This is Justin Brown in Halifax, Nova Scotia, Canada. And I just noticed on your Instagram account the Stephen Greer posting of the double golden UFO sighting that they had at their CE2 meetings that they do. And there was a hotline in the description, so I thought I'd call in with my story. So I was down in Shag Harbor, the scene of the world's only government-documented UFO crash in 1967 here in Nova Scotia, filming a story about a man who claimed to have seen a sea monster in the area in 1976 with his father and a number of other locals at that time. And at the end of that shoot for that short film, I was sort of about to leave. I decided to take a left turn spontaneously because I thought that there was a big lighthouse down that way, and I thought that would make some great B-roll. So as I headed down that way, I found a very peculiar miniature lighthouse sitting on the top of a crop of rocks over a small body of water. So I stopped in there and I launched a drone, and I sent the drone up, and I got some really great footage of that. But when I sent it back to its GPS coordinates for landing, as I was watching it above me land, I noticed a UFO up there. But at first I didn't realize what it was. My first thought was, oh, there's a bag. Oh, there's the ping pong ball. And then I was like, well, that's impossible. So I thought, oh shit, there's something weird hovering above me. So luckily for me, I had all my camera gear. So once the drone landed safely, I rented the car, got my telephoto lens, and I managed to zoom in on this craft and get it stabilized on a tripod and got some nice HD 1080p footage of this thing floating over top of me. Well, I know Chris Stiles, the author and researcher of the Shag Harbor incident. He's written 2 books on the subject, and I know the original witnesses to the UFO crash, having spent so many years down this way and going to all the conferences. But I called Chris, and I called Lori Wickens, the original witness to the 67 crash. I called my friend Heather Dowsett, who I had just finished a short film making about her, who has had ongoing alien abductions going on in the same area. So you have to understand that this whole area is like a portal zone. And actually Chris is working on a 3rd book about this whole area. Anyway, when this UFO was over me, and I had this thing zoomed in on camera, I thought to myself, I've seen UFOs before. I've had these experiences before. No one was convincing me that we weren't interacting with some strange phenomenon or intelligence of some kind. But I had seen UFOs before in the past, but this was an affirmation to say, remember, there's something interacting with you that has always coexisted, and it's real. And so no matter how far off you drift in your own personal endeavors of life or family or ego, don't forget that mysteries continue to elude us and are there to continue to be discovered and understood. To be honest, I had a spiritual experience when I saw this thing. That affirmation for me, that close, seeing what I had seen, this thing was a white sphere with an interior electric blue center with white spokes in different areas. It was a spiritual experience for me, a reminder that, yeah, this is real and this is the closest you've ever come. And I immediately thought of the famous quote from Friedrich Nietzsche that said, essentially I'm paraphrasing, but when you stare into the abyss begins to stare back. And being in such close contact with Chris and Heather with these abductions and now this sea monster, I felt like, oh shit, like now I'm completely implicated and involved in the ongoing saga of the Shag Harbor story of 67, because it's continued all the way through the decades to the modern day, which is what most people don't understand. And Chris's next book will go into that further. And, I just actually entered my short film Rift into the International UFO Congress Film Festival. So hopefully if it gets chosen, this August, it will be in the Film Fest for the 2019 IUFOC in Arizona in September. So hopefully if you see it, you'll see the UFO that I shot that blew my mind, and I think it'll blow your mind too. And if you do see the movie, please vote for that too, because if it wins the People's Choice Award, then, it will actually bring more focus back to Shag and Chris and his endeavors to keep this story alive. Anyway, you have a really fun show. I love your interactions with folks, especially your relationship with Mike Barra, and you guys are really fun, and all the best to you. And if you ever want to speak further, please don't hesitate to call me back. And just remember, there is something interacting with humanity, and it seems like it always has, and we're still scrambling to understand what it is, and we haven't really got much closer to what it is, but I think it's more important to think of ourselves as dandelions. We're beautiful flowers that are destined to become seeds that blow off and seed the rest of the cosmos. And I think that's a reminder to keep moving, because I think that's what we are. All the best, Justin.